She's not gonna have it done.
She asked me if she could put a sign in my yard. I said, yeah, and I'll find him others. That my neighbors will let her. Should tell her that too.
Me too.
Okay, good evening. Linda, could you please give the invocation?
Let's bow our heads. Holy and righteous Father, as we come before you tonight, we entrust this city unto you. We thank you for the power of your might as decisions are made to make crooked places straight, to stand for truth, righteousness, and justice, to supply the needs of the people who live here. We thank you that, as your word says in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, 6 through 9, that you have cascaded your light into us, the brilliant dawning light of the glorious knowledge of God, as we gaze into the face of Jesus Christ. We are like common clay jars that carry this glorious treasure within, so that the extraordinary overflow of the power will be seen as God's, not ours. Though we experience every kind of pressure, we're not crushed. At times, we don't know what to do, but quitting is not an option. We are persecuted by others, but God has not forsaken us. We may be knocked down, but not out. Therefore, Father, we go forward this night, trusting in the you that is in each of us, as we determine and decide upon the direction of this your city as we manage its affairs. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Linda. So now we'll officially call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Present in person, Mayor Miller.
Here.
Alderpersons Ross
Here.
and Parker.
Here.
Alderpersons attending remotely, Borneman,
Present.
McClanathan,
Present.
Busker,
Present.
Brashaw,
He's talking, but
Her lips are moving.
we cannot hear you, Alderperson Brashaw.
Give us a thumb.
We will go back to her, Alderperson Mysick
Present.
and Berberay.
Present.
Alderperson Brashaw, do you want to try one more time?
Give us a thumbs up.
Let's go on to staff. We'll check back with her. Present in person, Manager Bucus,
present.
Director Richter, Hines, Boyer, Chief Summers,
Present.
Deputy Director Stromberg, Huffines, Clerk Anderson is present in person. Do we have Chief Liggett on audio or visual? Is he up there?
Present. Present.
Thank you. Also present in person, Attorney Sosnowski. Present. And let's check in with Alderperson Brashaw. Are we able to communicate? Yeah, I've marked him absent if we can't go back and forth.
She's gotta be able to hear, and respond. I would advise her to log out and log back in, and then you can, record her as being present once she's able to verbalize.
Alderperson Brashaw, did you hear that? Could you try logging off and logging back in And we'll mark you present once it's a two-way communication. Okay, Mayor Miller, I think that's it. Did I miss any department heads? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you could please stand and join us with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman Misick.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Parker, seconded by Alderman Ross. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Misick,
Aye.
Berberay,
Aye. Aye.
Borneman,
Aye.
McClanathan, Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
Alderperson Brashaw, can we hear you now? Eric, do you have any suggestions? Alderperson Brashaw, could you call in? Well, you can leave the video on, but if you also call into the number, you'll be remoted into your phone also for the audio. At this point, she will not be marked present, and there will be no vote, so the agenda is approved 7-0.
Item number 2 is the approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting on February 1st, 2021. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second. Busker first and Misick second.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion made by Alderman Busker, seconded by Alderman Misick to approve the minutes. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Misick,
Aye.
Berberay,
Aye.
Borneman,
Aye.
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
and let's do a sound check on Brashaw. Okay, she won't be marked yet. 7-0, the minutes are approved.
Thank you. Item number 3 is public comment. We have none on agenda items. Item number 4 is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is considered to be routine in nature and acted as one motion, unless there's a member of the council that would like to have something removed for further discussion. Is there anything, council? Seeing none, the consent agenda consists of approving and placing on file the boards and commission minutes from the Firefighters Pension Board from October 28th, the Police Pension Board from October 28th, the Zoning Board of Appeals from November 5th, and the Library Board from December 9th, 2020. Also is the Building Permit Report from January 2021, and the approval of the finance bills payable in the total of $784,973.87, as well as the approval of the payroll for pay period ending January 30th, 2021, in the total of $525,310.99. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. Okay.
We have a motion made by Alderman Parker, seconded by Alderman Berberay. Alderman Misick? Okay. Alderman Misick, that was you?
Yeah, Jim and I were tied.
Okay. We'll give this one to Alderman Misick. Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Misick,
Aye.
Berberay,
Aye.
Borneman,
Aye.
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
Brashaw.
Aye.
Okay, and at 6:08, she'll be marked present, and the consent agenda is approved 8-0.
Thank you. I'd like to read the following proclamation. Whereas, since 1976, every American president has designated February as Black History Month. And whereas the Black History Month 2021 theme is Black Family, Representation, Identity, and Diversity, which explores the spread of Black families across the United States. And whereas we recognize that in the city of Freeport is proud to have many generations of Black families that have been an important part of our community. And whereas during Black History Month, we celebrate the achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas the observation of Black History Month calls attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to the idea that all men are created equal. And whereas the city of Freeport continues to work towards an inclusive community in which all citizens are recognized and respected for their importance in our diverse community. Now therefore, I, Jody Miller, Mayor of the City of Freeport, by the authority vested in me, do hereby declare February 2021 to be Black History Month in the City of Freeport and call this observation to the attention of our citizens to celebrate our diverse heritage and culture and continue to our efforts to create a world that is more equal, just, and peaceful. Item number 6 is the acceptance of reappointments. Could you please read this?
Quincy Carter and Craig Deininger to the Ethics Commission, effective through February 22nd, 2023.
Thank you. If it pleases the council, we'll do this in one motion. Is there a motion to accept those appointments? Alderman Parker? Is there seconded by Alderman Ross? Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Mysick.
Aye.
Berberay.
Aye.
Borneman.
Aye.
McClanathan. Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
And Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 7 is the first reading of ordinance 20, I think that's supposed to say 2108. Is that right, Madam Clerk? My copy says 2020.
Mine says 2021. Let me see what the agenda says.
2020.
Oh, thank you. Yep, that'll be corrected.
Okay, so if you could please read that for the record.
Ordinance approving special use permit for KMW Enterprises Limited Partnership or Woodridge Estates for a campsite.
Thank you. Director Hines.
Thank you. So you've had a chance to hopefully review the special use application and the memo that was submitted. So this special use application is from KMW Enterprises. It's the owner of Woodridge Estates Mobile Home Park to request a temporary recreational vehicle residence, or otherwise legally known as a camp. Camps are a special use in A1 agricultural zoned parcels. And the Woodridge Estates property is split up into several different parcels. So this makes up the northeast portion of Woodridge Estates. And this includes Mulberry Lane, Hillview Lane, and Pleasant Lane. The current use is mobile home park. To straightforwardly differentiate those two, camp and mobile home park, camp is temporary and mobile home park is permanent. And this request came from a need to accommodate workers who are putting in a pipeline just north of Freeport for Nicor gas. And so Woodridge Estates representative presented this request after receiving communication from a foreman that they need somewhere to park their vehicles during the time that they're working on this. The workers would come in waves as they go through the project, and they believe that they would have up to 100 workers over the period of time. As it's stated in this memo, the Woodridge Estates Mobile Home Park doesn't currently have a mobile home park license with the city. They have a few items that they need to address. This includes removing abandoned structures, installing a functional service building, installing adequate lighting, ensuring adequate water and sewer connections, and repairing roads. They've completed some tasks over the years, and they've been working with us on getting these done. So that includes, like, they installed updated lighting. Some of the issues that the the light lamps are still a certain distance apart. They need to be closer together, but they did install the proper wattage on those, and they have made some road repairs as well. And so we acknowledge that they need to conform with our license requirements, and they need to conform with these items that are listed here. But we also acknowledge the benefit to the community that having up to 100 people coming in and, you know, buying things from the grocery store, going to restaurants right now while they're still open. And so they did meet all of the special use standards, the LaSalle Sinclair factors, and the zoning board and the planning commission both recommended approval at their meetings in the past few weeks. We didn't receive any communication as to or arguments as to not allowing this. No one came in and opposed the special use application. And so we're actually looking for a waiver of the rules and approval of the special use tonight to allow for them to move forward as quickly as possible. The foreman had asked to move into this, or to start letting recreational vehicles occupy Woodridge Estates as early as February 1st, but they're waiting to go through this process, and they're also working on installing proper electrical service hookups in each of the spaces for the RVs to hook up to. And this, the recommendation that we came up with and that the zoning board and planning commission recommended too is subject to a few conditions. So the first is compliance with all applicable public health requirements, including the Illinois Recreational Area Code, site requirements contained in subparts B through O of Part 800 of Title 77 of the Illinois Administrative Code, and subject to a limited term to expire December 31st, 2021. So the first condition, it basically allows us to go onto the property and do inspections to make sure that they're meeting these requirements. So that includes things like the electrical hookups and that they're properly hooked up to like water and sewer connections. And this is actually required to all other areas of the state that are not home rule. So if they were in the county, they would have to go through this anyways. And then for the limited term, we figured that for this type of use, we would like it to be temporary. We know that it's a benefit to the community in the short term, and it is a short-term need. So the expiration date of December 31st would meet the need for the RVs to park at this park.
Questions, council? Alderman Parker,
I'll make a motion to approve that. Send it on.
to move it forward?
Yes.
So we have a motion made by Alderman Parker, seconded by Alderman Ross to move ordinance 2021-08 on. And then, are there questions, council, before we move on further?
Madam Mayor, it's Alderman McClanathan.
Alderman McClanathan?
Thank you. I think it was well over a year ago that I think it was Attorney Cox was talking to us about some of these provisions that you referenced tonight, and it seems like still many of them are outstanding. What's our time frame for getting these into compliance, and how does that factor into our consideration tonight, notwithstanding what you said regarding the limited terms and the subjects to confirmation of compliance with applicable health requirements?
So we're essentially separating the need for the recreational vehicles and the need for the license. We're as part of this, we're not asking for the license to be issued ahead of getting the special use, but we're still going to be working with them and making sure that they're meeting the requirements that we have that we had listed in here. In one of the either the ZBA or the Planning Commission, a similar question was asked, and the petitioner had answered that the having the RVs here and getting in some extra revenue from having these parked on the property would help them, get more funds to meet some of these requirements. Repairing the roads and expanding the individual properties, it is a costly ask for them. And so hopefully this will help lead to some changes moving forward. But we will still make sure that those are being done and worked on.
Follow up, Madam Mayor?
Sure.
Do we have any issues or concerns with any of our departments, including public safety, community development, obviously, in regards to the impacts that this might have on the resources that are out there?
No, I have not received any concerns from that.
Madam Mayor?
Alderman Brashaw,
Thank you. I hope you can hear me okay.
we got you.
Thank you. Director Hines, I have a question. Somewhere, I believe I read it in the findings of facts that they will be doing criminal background checks on the applicants. Is that correct?
Yes, that is what the petitioner said, and we did include, I included some documents that they provided at the public hearing in the packet, and those were the application and the rules and regulations for the mobile home park, and they had said that any other mobile home or manufactured homeowner that's coming into their property has to go through this background check process, and so they're going to require the same for the recreational vehicle owners. And the people who either own or are using these RVs, they work for NICOR. They do this on a regular basis. They move from community to community or work for a period of time and then go home. And this is what they do on a regular basis. So hopefully I think that the demographic of people that is coming who work on these jobs, they have experience with this. If they were bad and potentially caused harm to the community, then hopefully they wouldn't have a job with NICOR anymore.
One follow-up, Mayor, please.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Director Hines, are they also to follow and fill out a crime-free addendum like all the landlords have the regular tenants fill out?
That is a good question. Since this is a private community, I don't believe that they're held to the same standards as as a landlord or a rental property would be. The mobile home park license, I think, is that's what differentiates the rental properties from the mobile home parks. I hope that answers the question.
But they're not licensed.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, pardon me if I'm in error. I just thought that everyone that rented in a mobile home park that even leased the space also had to follow the crime-free addendum. So maybe I misunderstood that.
I would have to look back in the code. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer to that right now.
Madam Mayor?
Alderman Burberry?
Director Hines, throughout our community, when there's a request for a variance, I'm not sure this is a variance for property use. We're required to inform the neighbors, so to speak, that there are changes coming. Have we in any way informed all the residents of Woodbridge Estates that this is going to be happening, or are they already aware of it and have been any reaction?
So they have to send out notices to all the adjacent parcels. They do also have to post a notice on the property, and so any homeowner would see, or any manufactured homeowner in the Woodridge Estates property would have seen that sign, hopefully.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
the city owns adjoining property, and we received our notice along with the others.
Thank you.
Are there any other concerns, questions, council?
Mayor, this is Borneman.
Alderman Borneman?
Director, did you say that Woodridge has to send out notices, but you don't know if they did?
No, so they have to send out notices to adjacent parcels. The mobile homes are not separated by parcel in the estates. So they sent out notices to surrounding parcels.
Okay. And the notice that you said was up for public viewing of the tenants there, have you seen that sign personally?
No, I did not.
Do you know where it is?
So as part of the process for special use or variance, you have to post a sign, basically a notice on the property, and it has to be viewable by the public. There are certain size limitations, basically, for property over or under. It's either 5 or 10 feet, or 10 acres, excuse me.
I guess I was expecting a photo of the sign in the materials, but I don't see that.
Moving forward, I can certainly include a photo of the sign in these types of packets.
Okay, and I guess maybe I misunderstood the presentation. Is the department requesting a suspension of the rules tonight and asking that this be voted on to take effect based on a conditional acceptance?
That's correct.
What's the need for the suspension of the rules?
The foreman that had reached out to Woodridge Estates had originally asked for if they could start bringing people in by February 1st. So the waiver of the rules would allow for them to basically move in as soon as the electrical hookups are available on the property, but as soon as they can, essentially.
Otherwise, it just puts their project a few more weeks behind schedule.
That's correct.
And Alderman Borneman, the clerk did say that she received a letter, so that's where I would guess that the other adjacent properties did as well.
Right, I guess my bigger concern is the residents of the estates out there who would be the more affected parties and their notice about what's going on. Because I know there's a lot of rules about becoming a resident out there, and that was my concern. And I just have one last question here. So in the materials, looks like item A-1 to the application, there's highlighted sections, and those highlighted lots are all where RVs would be placed in that portion?
I believe so. Based on that, this is probably one of the more vacant parcels on the Woodridge Estates property, so that looks accurate.
Okay. And I guess I have more than one question, last question, but I mean, how many people or RVs are expected? I know it's mentioned hundreds of people in the memo, but do we have an idea of how many workers are here?
So I believe it'll be about up to 100, and up to 100 vehicles. I'm not sure whether these the workers will have family with them, or whether it will just be individual people coming in an RV by themselves. But I believe it'll be up to 100 vehicles, and they will be coming in waves as they work on the project. So my understanding is that they're either working. There is some work being done in Stockton right now, or nearby, and so it seems like they'll be doing a little bit there and working their way forward. And as people are moving forward, then they will come here, and then some people will continue to move forward. Others will stay for a little bit.
Okay. So if I understand this right, instead of going into a hotel, NICOR wants to have employees park RVs and use them like they would a hotel.
Yeah, and there might be some people staying in a hotel. There might be variety in that, and it may depend on the maybe the preference of the employees. I'm not entirely sure on the logistics of that. but,
Okay,
yeah.
right. So wouldn't the city lose out on a lot of hotel motel tax by this going on?
I guess that is that is something that we could lose out on if they choose to take on, to live in the RVs instead of hotels, but it is their preference, and we can't make them stay in a hotel.
Okay, and then on the memo, so in the background portion, right now there's abandoned structures that need to be removed. There aren't available washing machines, or the service building is needed. There's not adequate lighting. The sewer and water connections aren't set up for all homes. Roads aren't up to standards, and there's not a plan for development.
So I can go into a little bit more detail on each of those. So they have removed some abandoned structures from the premise, but there still are some left, to my understanding. For the functional service building, so they installed a washing machine and a dryer, but what they did not do was install rinse tubs next to it. So that was one of the requirements, was the rinse tubs. For the installation of lighting, they did put in 150 wattage lights, that's required as part of the code. But what they did not do was move the lamps. Right now, I think that they're about, and I may be wrong on the numbers, but I think they're about 200 to 300 feet apart, but they have to be about 150 to 200 feet apart. It's somewhere around there, but they're not right up to par. For the roads, they have made some repairs, but what we're asking is for them to come to subdivision standards, which is different from what they currently are at. And then for the development, we're asking that for any incoming mobile homes, they expand the individual mobile home lots from what their average is about now is about 3,500. What we're asking is that they expand them to 4,000 square feet to provide more space for the people who are living in the home.
And the projects that the NICOR staff is going to be working on is north of town?
That's correct, and I don't know exactly where it is, but it's north of Freeport.
Okay, so it's not near this particular location?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Any other discussion, council?
Madam Mayor, Alderman McClanathan.
Alderman McClanathan?
Thank you. And Alderman Borneman kind of hit on what I had led off with, and I know you said you're kind of viewing him differently. But outside of the increase of revenue, again, it's a little concerning given the amount of time it's been and the lack of progress we've had on these. What will be used to leverage further compliance here with the laundry list of things that you listed that are still outstanding?
So we understand that the nonconformity of the mobile home park license is an issue, and we're going to continue to work with them to make sure that they're complying with this. Moving forward, as far as what we're going to do to leverage that, there are certain code compliances that they're not necessarily meeting, and so we can use code enforcement as a means to leverage the need to comply with the mobile home park license requirements.
And for a further follow-up, following up on the, why this location, obviously, one, there's a lot of lots, and two, there's probably hookups and things of that nature. Give us some insight as to what makes this ideal for this proposed purpose versus other means of accommodation in the area.
Yeah, so there really are no other lots within the city of Freeport that would quickly meet the requirements that they need to park their vehicles. So for the first being that camp is not permitted anywhere in the city other than as a special use in agricultural zone parcels. And so this one corner parcel in the entire Woodridge Estates Park is zoned A1. So that's the first thing. And then this park was also built for manufactured homes, which are essentially the same as an RV. There are obvious differences, but for the sake of this, they are similar enough. And just the setup that they need is similar enough. So those are the biggest things that would require us to help them put this here, basically.
Does Woodridge Estates own the slots just south of this, particularly avenues A, B, and C, that are completely empty? And frankly, I don't know, they might be too deteriorated to even be of use, but there's obviously no population on it. Does Woodridge own that, or is that just another entity? Is it an abandoned portion? Do you know?
Oh, just the lots that are closer to the housing authority homes. Is that
Yeah, just south of Pleasance Lane. We're just south of Pleasant. You get Avenue A, and then B, and then C, and then D, as you head south of there.
Yeah, those are not owned by Woodridge Estates. There are separately owned parcels that we are having their own issues. There are several condemned properties on that set of land, but those are not owned by Woodridge Estates.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion, council? Director Hines has asked for, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'll just end with a comment of, it seems that this is a practice of NICOR from what I understand, and these workers are transient in nature, and I'm assuming these are RVs that maybe the workers would prefer to reside in, but at the same time, I'd much rather see these workers use the accommodations of the city, such as hotels, where the city would be able to receive, like I mentioned, the hotel motel tax. Maybe that's not an option. There's probably more to it than what I understand right now. But at the same time, NICOR is a large corporation that I feel maybe getting the benefit of the bargain over benefit of this, and the city kind of might be losing out on that revenue. And then the alternative, maybe they see this and say, all right, well, we're going to go stay in Lena, and the city loses out altogether. So that's just my thought on it. That's my position on that. So it's a kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't situation, I think, where the business could decide to go elsewhere, and it would help a local business, but I also would rather see this. I think our city has hotels that would accommodate, and I would like to see the city receive the hotel motel tax, and we're missing out on that. So that's all I have.
Madam Mayor, Alderman McClenathan.
Alderman McClenathan?
Thanks. I appreciate that, and as you recognized, Alderman Borneman, it's not necessarily, we don't know whether it's an either or on it, and so under the circumstances, limited in scope in regards to time, the benefit that will be achieved, I will support it. Though as I think I've obviously made clear, I would like to see some movement on those issues that we've been dealing with them for over a year. However, on the whole, I'd rather get some of the secondary benefits that we have here that are known, as opposed to say no as a whole, and then turns out that they do have other options. So points are well taken, Alderman Bornham, but I do think I will support it here tonight.
Well, Director Hines has asked for suspension of the rules, if that's something the council would consider.
Madam Mayor, I'll move to suspend the rules. Alderman McClenathan.
Second.
Okay, we have a suspension of the rules made by Alderman McClanathan, seconded by Alderman Berberay. Suspension of the rules is non-debatable and must pass by a 2/3 majority. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll on the suspension of the rules only?
Meissick,
Aye.
Berberay,
Aye.
Borneman,
No.
McClanathan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
No.
Brashaw.
No.
Suspension of the rules does not pass by 2/3 vote.
Okay, then we will move ordinance 2021-08 on to the next regularly scheduled meeting, which was a motion made by Parker, seconded by Ross.
Madam Clerk,
Yes?
in between now and the next dates, if we could get some follow-up information in regards to the availability of other options or why they aren't applicable, that might be pertinent to some of the questions raised tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 8 is the adoption of Resolution 2021-04. Madam Clerk, could you please read this?
Resolution approving license agreement with Dull Edge for offloading and depositing snow for 2021.
Thank you. Manager Bucus.
Thank you, Your Honor. We are running out of places to store and dispose of our snow as we remove them from our cul-de-sacs, downtown streets, and parking lots, and various other locations in the city, including intersections. I contacted the property owner for the former racetrack on South Walnut Street and inquired whether he'd be interested in either selling or leasing the property to the city for our snow removal program. He offered to lease the property part of the property to the city at no charge for one snow season to see how it works out. It takes resources to remove snow from various sections along the city and transport it to a dumping site, and this is just adds to one more available site that we have that is kind of close to some of the areas that we're clearing out. The license agreement will have no additional cost to the city, and the staff's recommendation that City Council adopt Resolution R 2021-04, allowing for a license agreement with Dull Edge, Inc., the owner of the former racetrack, for snow deposit.
Questions, Council?
Madam Mayor, Alderman Busker.
Alderman Busker?
Yes. I think this is very generous of the landowner to donate the property to us for this year. I would like to make a motion to move this forward or to adopt this resolution. And also, I believe we need to look at alternative ways of removing snow from our street in the future here. But tonight, I make a motion to adopt it.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Busker, seconded by Alderman Parker for the adoption of Resolution 2021-04. Is there any further discussion, Council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Meissick,
Aye.
Berberay,
Aye.
Borneman,
Aye.
McClanathan, Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
and Brashaw.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 9 is a motion to modify job description for a Pretzel City Transit Program Compliance Oversight Monitor from part-time to full-time. Manager Bucus?
Thank you, Your Honor. Our current program, Compliance Oversight Monitor, also known as a PCOM, is planning to retire. This position basically monitors our Prince City Transit system and program. No date has been set for his retirement, but we're trying to plan ahead for the replacement and are looking to expand that part-time PCOM position to a full-time position. This position requires increasingly more time and effort due to state reporting requirements and an increase in grants received, and as such requires more hours. We're not looking to make any changes to the day-to-day responsibilities for the PCOM position, but just the fact that it is taking more and more time. The full-time position as drafted would also include the writing of and oversight of some other city grants, and we are currently outsourcing some of those grants writings, and this could help us keep some of the stuff in-house and not spend the expense of farming it out. Since the current PCOM coordinator has been very sufficient in managing this program for the last several years, he's willing to stay on and help to educate his new successor. And the staff's recommendation that City Council approve the modification of the program compliance oversight monitor position from part-time to full-time.
Manager Bucus, where does the funding come from to change that salary?
Yeah, the funding will come directly from the grants. The city has no direct cost for this person. It's all grant funded.
Thank you. Questions, council?
Madam Mayor?
Alderman Brashaw?
Thank you, Mayor. Manager Bucus, I see that the full-time position as drafted would include the writing and oversight of other city grants. And right now, you pointed out that we currently outsource most of our grant writing. So what percentage of this position would be towards grant writing, do you think?
Well, I can't specifically say grant writing, but grant monitoring as well. We're looking at the PCOM position being at least 30 to 35 hours a week, and so we're looking at anywhere from 5 to 10 hours of looking for grants, helping to assist with grant writing, and also monitoring other grants besides the transportation grants.
Thank you. Madam Mayor,
Alderman Brashaw?
are you looking for direction from your council tonight?
It's asking for a motion to modify the job description.
I would like to make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
I'll second that if no one has.
Actually, Alderman Parker did, so thank you. So we have a motion made by Alderman Brashaw, seconded by Alderman Parker for the modification of the job description. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Mysick,
Aye.
Berberay,
Aye.
Borneman,
Aye.
McClanathan, Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
and Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 10 is the reports of department heads. Finance?
Good evening. I just wanted to inform the council that we have the website up now for the credit card payments for water and sewer. It took a little bit more time than what we expected. I also wanted to let you know that there'll be a mailer in with the water bills beginning this week and for all 4 cycles of bills that go out to inform our customers of this new website and the location of it, and answer some kind of frequently asked questions converting from our old site to this site. So I just wanted to get the word out on that. Also, this website will be used for fee renewals, food and beverage tax payments, hopefully hangar rents. So those are going to be gradually added in too, and also letting all of those customers know our residents know that that exists out there. That's a change for us, and I think it'll be really user-friendly and that kind of thing. So just wanted to let you know.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
question, will the people that still want to drop their check in the mailbox across the way will still be able to do that?
Oh, definitely. Yep. We have many ways to take payments, and so we're definitely keeping those open also.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Alderman Borneman?
thank you. Director, I'm sure you guys are already going to do this, but if possible, or if you'd be able to put that mailer into a PDF to send out so we could send it out electronically to our mailing list and stuff as council members, or post it for social media purposes.
Definitely. I'll definitely get that out to you. We're also trying to figure out a way that we can, because we do have some customers that only receive their bill by email. So we need to send some type of notification out to those also. So we'll definitely get it to you. We do have it as a PDF.
Thanks for moving the department down there in the right direction when it comes to payments. That's exciting news to hear.
Yes, we're very excited too.
Thank you. Community Development? Thank you. Public Works? Thank you. Fire Department? Chief
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you're all aware, we had a fire this last weekend, pretty significant fire. The cause of the fire was space heaters, so what I wanted to take a few moments to talk about tonight was the use of space heaters as auxiliary heat in this weather. We're really concerned about using these auxiliary devices. They're nice to help with a single room that may be chilly as a result of a draft. But we want to encourage folks to do other things that they might be able to weather this cold weather, like sealing up windows, putting draft blankets and things like that along the edge of the door to keep drafts from coming in, making sure that you get your heating units checked every year, make sure you're changing your filters, doing those routine maintenance items. If you have a problem, getting it checked right away, because with all gas-powered heating devices, there is also the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. So making sure that you're getting things repaired so they're operational through these very cold winter months is very important. What I want to also remind folks is that if your furnace is not functioning, then using an alternative source for heating your home is not up to code. Using the space heater to heat every room, or a kerosene heater, which is extremely dangerous to do, but I have seen it happen in my years in the fire service. Using those auxiliary devices does not meet the code. Whatever device you have has to be able to heat the house to a minimum of 68 degrees. And space heaters certainly don't do that. If you're utilizing space heaters in a home, and especially in an older home that may have knob and tube wiring or older wiring where we're dealing with fuse boxes, things like that, folks certainly could be placing their home in danger of fire as a result of electrical fire also, because those units draw a great deal of electricity, can heat up and make the wires brittle, and then causing a fire in the walls. So just something I'm very concerned about with the weather we've been having. I want to get that public message out there to make sure that folks are doing the right thing. Also, in the last 3 house fires we've had, we're not having smoke. We're not finding smoke detectors. I need your help. If I could come to neighborhood meetings and talk about smoke detectors, I'd be happy to do that. But we give them away free. There's no cost to anybody in the city of Freeport. If you want a smoke detector, I can get you one. We have them through a grant through the American Red Cross, and they have 10-year lithium batteries in them. And we would put one on every floor of your home and one near your sleeping areas. This is the state law. Smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors are required. In multifamily residences, if they're installed after a certain date, they have to be hardwired with battery backup. So there's, it's just a very simple thing we can do. It's free, and it can save a life. So help me get the word out there, because it's astonishing in these days and this day and age that we are finding in our properties, in our homes, that folks don't have smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors. So thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate your assistance in getting the word out.
Thank you, Chief. Police?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to give everyone a quick note that ShotSpotter will be in town on Thursday to begin their project, so we'll have a better timeline of everything and understand the setup and the processes that they're going to go through. So on Thursday, they're coming to meet with the police department.
Thank you. IT? Thank you. Library?
Thank you, Mayor Miller. I'm sure most of you already know what I'm going to talk about. We have started our One Book, One Freeport handing out. So we have our regular community read book that we're doing for all of the adults. It's called The Underground Railroad. And we have purchased 1,000 books and have been giving them out steadily for a week now. This program is completely grant funded. Large support by the Freeport Public Library Foundation, and then we have Freeport Community Foundation, the United Way of Northern Illinois, the Community Foundation of Northern Illinois, the Stevenson County Historical Society, and the Freeport Noon Rotary Club have all donated funding for this program. And that funding goes towards some of the speakers that we have, as well as purchasing the books. Every year we also get a kids book and a young adult book, teen book to also give out for free. So if you would like the teen or the kids book, swing on by the library. And I did see Mayor Miller has already read the kids book with her grandkids, so thank you for the support. But yeah, so if you have any specific questions about One Book, One Freeport, we've been doing it for a few years now. Well, I think it's probably about 10. Maybe closer to 15. We do it every 2 years, and we appreciate your support. If you want to go to any of our events, we are doing the majority of them online, and we are hoping that we can keep the few that we do have in person available as an in-person program, which we can do right now, and fingers crossed we'll be able to keep that going for the next couple of months. So. Any questions? Great.
Yeah, we had a great time with that reading, so thank you for that.
Thank
and
you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And next would be the city manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. We received word today that the city is eligible for another $13,000 in CARES money. That'll bring our total to $43,000. We previously were awarded $30,000 that we're still working on, and those funds will be used to install construct the firewall at the new airport terminal building, so we could get that building better utilized. And that's all I have for tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to let everyone know that I have another opening on a committee, which would be the historic preservation. So if you know someone that would be interested in that, please have them contact me or call the City Hall for more information. Also, vaccinations seem to be on many of the constituents' minds. Just to let you know that I did have a meeting last week with our federal representative asking for if there was anything that she could do for our community as well. You know, that it seems that rural America has kind of been set to the side as far as much vaccinations coming out. So while the doses are slow coming in, We are in Phase 1B, so if you are over 65, you are able to sign up on a waiting list at the Health Department. FHN and Monroe Clinic are also assisting the Stevenson County Health Department. So get your name on a list if you'd like to be on that vaccination end of it. So as soon as they come in, they are working diligently to get the next rounds going. Alderman Misick, did you have anything for this evening?
Nothing.
Thank you, Alderman Misick. Alderman Berberet?
Yes, Your Honor, I appreciate very much City Manager following up on alternate places for snow depository. Will definitely help one of our newly annexed citizens on the south side of town in the future. And that's just a good approach to be concerned about how the snow melting is going to affect citizens. So I appreciate his effort to find an alternative place. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Borneman?
Quickly for Chief Liggett, if he could also put that information into some type of PDF or some document that's shareable, I'd be happy to spread that vote throughout my email list and social media. That's all I have. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman McClanathan?
Thank you. I echo the sentiments of Alderman Berberet regarding the coming up with a solution. I also thank the owner for accommodating us in regards to that in that manner, particularly at the price there on no cost to the city. I also appreciate the update in regards to vaccination. I know seeing the press release recently from the health department, Director Benson was obviously concerned and doing, and it sounds like all the partners are doing everything you can to push forward in regards to supply, and anything that we need to do from a city standpoint to continue to support those efforts, I'm sure would be appreciated. Finally, just looping back one last thing to the RV. We'd already talked about having that some of that follow-up information. I also do recall Alderman Borneman asking some questions regarding the notice, which I know the city received, but if we could have any further follow-up on what he had asked on that. Also, Alderman Brashaw had an unresolved question regarding crime-free addendum. I think some of those would be maybe helpful for final determination next time. I would note, though, on a final note, I'm not sure how many of my colleagues have been out there recently, but it's an area that definitely could use some additional use out there. So I don't think it's an opportunity that should be lightly put aside. But hopefully some of that additional information in the meantime would be helpful. And for those of my colleagues who haven't been out there, take a look at what it looks like out there. I'd encourage you to do so over the next couple of weeks so you can kind of see where these units would be going, what it looks like, what would be the impact on the entity as a whole. Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you. Alderman Ross?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Parker?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to request for a discussion at the next COW meeting, possible changing the snow ordinance that we have presently now. It's confusing. It's hard. People don't get the notice. They don't know when it ends, when it starts. And unfortunately, the amount of snow we got this year, it removes cars from close to the curb, even when the plows have done a great job in getting it away. But when two cars park directly across from each other, when the snow ordinance is not in effect, it's very difficult even to get me and my truck through. It'd be very hard for an ambulance or a fire truck to get through. So I'd like to see if we could bring it up at the next committee of a whole to discuss possibly changing it to a different policy where we have a snow ordinance all winter, and it's the same one, and people know from year to year when they can park and where. So, thank you.
Did you have a second alderman that would be willing?
I will.
Alderman Ross? Thank you. Was that it, Alderman Parker?
Yes.
Thank you. Alderman Busker? Alderman Busker, did you have something?
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. Alderman Brashaw?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to thank Chief for giving us the update on shots fired, and we're looking forward to seeing the progress on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the new business. Item number 14 is public comments. We have one that was signed in. Diane Yoakum? If you could speak into the microphone, we have 3 minutes. Thank you.
This is in response to a resolution that had been passed by this board, this body, and on behalf of the Mission and Outreach Leadership Team of St. John United Church of Christ in Freeport, supports the implementation of House Bill 3653, the Criminal Justice Reform Bill. As people of faith from the Christian tradition, we are called by Christ to advocate for justice and the well-being of all people. Therefore, we support this bill and its efforts towards civil rights and racial justice in Freeport and Stevenson County. We respect the opinions of local leaders who have formally condemned this bill. However, we feel called to publicly state our belief that this bill will, in fact, make our communities safer by increasing protection of civil liberties. In particular, we applaud the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus and our state representatives and senators who recognize the need to end the unjust system of cash bail. We are happy that our state joins the ranks of others who have reformed cash bail systems: New Jersey, Colorado, Alaska, Maryland, New Mexico, and Arizona, as well as many counties and cities nationwide. In a cash bail system, people who are charged with a crime buy their freedom if they can, while those who cannot must wait in jail until their trials. Spending even a few days in jail can result in job loss, housing loss, even loss of custody of one's children, which causes enormous disruption to families and communities. This system exacerbates existing inequalities within our communities, rewarding the rich and punishing the poor for their socioeconomic status. In addition, it is well documented that pretrial detention increases the likelihood of conviction in guilty pleas, as well as the length of sentencing. In other words, those who can afford bail are more likely to win their cases, while those who cannot are more likely to lose. In this way, a cash bail system impedes the justice system's ability to enact justice. Finally, we question our local lawmakers' claims that there were no opportunities for local communities to give input on HB 3653. 9 public hearings were held on the bill, making up over 30 hours of public testimony. In addition, the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Pretrial Practices conducted a 2-year process of study and a 12-month listening period to discuss the impact of pretrial practices, including no cash bail. One of these hearings was held in Freeport on June 24, 2019. In conclusion, the Mission and Outreach Leadership Team affirms again our support of House Bill 3653, particularly in ending its unjust policy of cash bail. We hope that its passage is a step toward a safer community in Freeport and Stevenson County, one that supports Christ's values of peace and justice, where all are treated equally under the law and are truly innocent until proven guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Are there any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 15, which is the executive session. Madam Clerk, could you please read that for the record?
We will be entering executive session for exemptions 11 and 21. 11 reads, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the findings shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. Exemption 21, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06.
Thank you. Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Ross, seconded by Alderman Parker. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Misick,
Aye.
Berbere,
Aye.
Borneman,
Aye.
McClanathan, Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker, and Brashaw.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. And IT, I'm to assume everyone's ready for the next round? Okay, so. A separate meeting set up? Okay, so if the alderman can go to that, that would be appreciated. Thank you.